Is there luck involved in life? Yes, there is. But luck is also the domain of the wise. A person may seem to be very lucky, but at the same time, that person may be very wise. So, so there are there are some uh, there are some situations where we get lucky with something, and we we learn. I guess we learn that we're lucky. You could say that about any relationship though, because a relationship is growing to know people,
Mm-hmm.
and the more we get to know people, the more we are able to make a better decision about who that person is. And every meeting is a chance meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That this doesn't mean that you can't control chance.
Mm-hmm.
Because take for example, I used to listen to rock music, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
always wanted to find a girlfriend who liked rock music. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not a girlfriend who liked techno music or rap music. I wanted a girlfriend
Okay.
who liked rock music because music was important to me. So what did I do? I went to rock bars where they played rock music because that's where you meet rock girls. Now, it may be by chance I meet the right girl in the bar, but I chose the bar. I put myself there. So in a sense, I'm creating the luck because I put myself in that place where I know that I'm going to find that thing. You've got to put yourself in the right place. Everything begins by putting yourself in the right place, or even earlier than that, it begins by knowing what the right place is. Yeah, the bar is a terrible place to find your future love because everyone is drunk and nobody is themselves. Or almost everybody is drunk, probably. And when you drink, you're not yourself. You are the plus one character. You're different. Yeah. Drinking either adds to your character or removes from your character. It either gives you a bonus or it erases you. And either way, it's bad. So, and I didn't know this when I was a teenager. I didn't know anything when I was a teenager. There's a story that the actor Robin Williams used to tell, uh, where he said that everywhere he went, people wanted him to be funny. Everywhere he went, people wanted him to be plus one. They wanted them to be Robin Williams plus that funny character that was always on TV or always in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And and a lot of people when they drink, they are plus one. They're louder. They're funnier. They're a bit more crazy. They're less inhibited. But that's not who they are really.
Mm.
You go to bed
And
with someone like that, but you're going to wake up with somebody completely different. Yeah. Oh, my default principle is that everything on TV is a lie.
mm-hmm.
Everything on TV is a lie until somebody proves to me that it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe anything. I don't believe the so-called reality shows. I don't believe that they're not reality. It's all
Mm.
they're not. It's all staged. It's all fake. All
Mm-hmm.
of it. All of it. The homes that you see, they're all fake. The celebrities you see who are happy about stuff, they're all fake. The jokes are all pre-scripted. Um, there's too much value in giving or delivering a certain message to people. They call it programming because it is programming. Yeah, it's programming for people. Um, it's to get them to think. It's 24/7. It's to get them to think a certain way, to vote a certain way, to buy a certain product. Everything is selling something.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing on television that is not selling you a philosophy, a theory, an idea, a concept, a principle.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is selling you something.
Mm-hmm.
Ev- that this is good and this is the right and this is the way, and this is what the real world looks like, and this is what's important, and none of it is real. There was a program that I saw years ago which explained how the British government and the BBC meet every day, and they plan their television programs 6 months in advance. And everything that the government does is orchestrated perfectly to fit into the television channels, to the point where when when government needs to make important decisions about things, they do it when there's the main sporting events on television, because they know everyone's watching the sporting events on TV. Yeah, it's all designed. The BBC was originally called the Ministry of Information.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have a Ministry of Defense and a Ministry of Education. The BBC was originally called the Ministry of Information. But the government decided that it was too obvious, so they changed their name to the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
You can go and read their history. It's all in their history. Go and read the Wikipedia page. And that's how it works. Every magazine is designed to sell you something. Every newspaper is designed to get you thinking in a certain way about what is important. And most of it, like 90% at least, I think, it's just absolute rubbish. And it doesn't mean that it's not entertaining. Of course it's entertaining. That's why it works. Entertain, retain, detain, maintain.
Mm-hmm.
All of these words have the same root, which means to hold within the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Entertain, mente, mind. Enter, to go in. Tain, to hold. Entertainment means to go in and to hold the mind. The word, if you look at the root. So it's all there in the language. They have programs, right? They have presenters. It's a beautiful scientific orchestration of reality. And it's very addictive. Do you notice how the news programs on television have these graphics that swirl in circles?
Mm-mm.
The moving circles are a fundamental principle in getting the mind to fix on certain types of information. Do you know the classic example? The classic example is like a swirling circle going round and round and round and round and round.
Mm-hmm.
Like a spinning circle, and a voice going, "Listen to me, you will believe everything I say." Right. And that's the crazy circus type of classic example that is a parody from hundreds of years ago from How to Hypnotize People. And the television news uses exactly the same thing. They use exactly the same principle on TV news. They use the scrolling words at the bottom of the screen that are too fast for you to read. Because if you're focusing on this with your eyes, you can't be listening. And that's how the programming works. It's very easy to put ideas into people's heads through television and video games and films and indirectly through magazines and historically through novels before the modern technological age. People were instructed through literature how to live, what to do, which habits to have, what to drink, how to behave, what was right and what was wrong. It goes back to the Shakespearean ideas that we discussed last week. Yeah. Theater, theos, the root of theater is theos. Theos means house of God. Because the Greeks went to the theater on a Sunday to get their instructions and programming and religious and spiritual content.
Mm-hmm.
The theaters were the original churches. And now today, if you look at a lot of modern churches, they're very theatrical in their design. They've got the right mood, the right atmosphere, the right lighting,
Mm-hmm.
the right sound.
Mm.
Uh, it's a it's a beautiful orchestration. No accidents, no chances. It's all scripted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's almost all scripted. That's what I didn't like about Slovak churches. I didn't like the scripting. I didn't like people reading from a piece of paper. You know the difference that I'm talking about, right? It's different when you're there. Like between you and me here, we don't have a script, right? We're not acting. This is a
Mm.
flow of natural reactions in conversation. And that's what brings life to life.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All the good and bad, that's what brings life to life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now you can have a plan, you can have an idea, you can have a script, you can have a series of points you want to make, all very important. Um, but I didn't like the total scriptedness of the Slovak churches. Whereas in Scotland here, which is this region is predominantly Presbyterian, which is Scottish Protestant, most of the priests don't have scripts in the churches. Yep, they have something that they want to talk about, and they memorize parts of it, not all of it, and they talk about it. So they stand
Really?
up and yep, they stand up and they talk. And it's more of a conversation with people
Mm-hmm.
than it is a presentation. And it gives a whole completely different perspective to the presentation of religion. It makes it more real, it makes it more personal. Yeah, it's not. It gets away from this. There's this hierarchical structure. If you want to meet God, you have to go through the priest, who has to go through the bishop, who has to go through the I don't know uh, whatever else to get to the top of the pyramid. Um, so it's a much more human presentation and more believable as a result, I think. And it's the personalities that make things important as well. Being real matters. It matters a lot being real, and that's another part of what the mantras and the motivation is about. It's keeping things keeping things real to the point where you're comfortable with being yourself, which a lot of people I think are not, but it varies from person to person. As we discussed already, you can't paint everybody with the same brush. So I like the less script and the more improvised, the more earthy I would call it, like it's in contact with the earth. Like I used to play in music groups, and believe it or not, we didn't have any songs, but we played concerts. We didn't have any songs, but we played concerts. We just got on stage and we looked at each other and we knew each other quite well, and we all had ideas, and I would play something and the bass player would play something and the drummer would play something. We'd be like, okay, that's it, we'll do that. And we would just improvise. And we would do that for half an hour or 45 minutes. Different songs. Each song would be 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes. It was always different all the time. Nothing was ever the same. Because I can't imagine anything more boring than getting on stage and playing the same song in the same way every time. That to me is the most boring thing ever. Um, So this idea that you could get on stage and take something and it be totally original every time you play it or do it was really interesting for me. So I think that's what brings life to life, and that's what we don't have on TV.